Black Mirror is a dark adventure game that's now available on console and PC. But is this a game that reflects well for the adventure genre, or should this one just be left to fade into black? Black Mirror is a dark 3D adventure game that has a creepy atmosphere, a gothic look, and murder and mystery along the journey. The game is a reimagining of an early 2000s point-and-click adventure game that actually got 2 sequels. It's not related in any way to the sci-fi anthology series. Without spoiling too much about the story, you take the role of David Gordon, who ends up being summoning back to his house, known as the Black Mirror, after his father ends up dying under mysterious circumstances. When you return home, you're now the master of the house. You're introduced to the family members that are currently still living there, as well as the help that works around the place itself. Gameplay is pretty simple, where you're able to just pretty much move around the mansion, explore its various rooms. You'll have to find keys, solve puzzles once in a while, as well as interact with the various characters, usually running down dialogue choices. Sometimes you'll get an opportunity to make a choice that will affect the way they end up reacting to you, but overall it didn't really seem to affect the story that much. You can always check the quest log to see exactly what your main quest is supposed to be, but a lot of that still involves this kind of exploring and finding things and people to interact with throughout the mansion. The game throws in an occasional QuickTime event or two, usually in the form of trying to keep your sanity between these intense moments, which basically just has you moving the cursor over this icon for a little bit of time. The game features some pretty decent voice acting, and overall the storyline I definitely enjoyed. The dark nature of everything and a few scenes in particular really ended up standing out to me. A few of the game's puzzles, though, can be a bit tricky, as you'll have to really look at things and talk to certain people in order to make sure that you have the right solution to figure them out. Another minor issue I have with the puzzles was sometimes when you're zoomed in an area with a puzzle, or even just zoomed in other locations where you're able to get a better look, you're able to move the camera around and interact with a few pieces of that. Make sure that you thoroughly check, because one of the early puzzles in the game I got stuck on because I didn't realize I could move the camera all the way to the left and turn around in order to interact with the side of an object. And while you will be able to learn the layout relatively quickly, I still wish there was an in-game map that I could easily pull up so I know that I'm going down the correct hallway, and the main reason for this is because of the technical issues that this game has. Thankfully, the game didn't crash on me, but there was a ton of other glitches and other issues I ran into. For the most part, the game runs extremely slow. The overall frame rate would drop on a consistent basis, and even sometimes just flat out freezing up for a moment or two before I was able to start moving again. There was also minor graphical glitches that would pop up now and then, even in cutscenes. I had one time where my character's eyes were completely white, and it wasn't supposed to be a creepy moment. The game just messed up. The overall textures and models of the characters in the game just are overall poor. The shadows in particular just look exceptionally ugly on the PlayStation 4 version at least. You can also see issues with the graphics as far as them not lining up properly at times, where you're able to kind of see the seam and see where the two textures ended up meeting. Then the worst part of all, the load times. You have to constantly move between rooms in the game, and it has to load in between each one of these rooms, taking 15 to 20 seconds sometimes in order to get through them. And a lot of times you're going to have to go through room after room after room multiple times in a row, and because of this, it ends up doubling the length of the game. It took me roughly 7 or so hours to play through it, but I swear a lot of that time was spent in load screens. Heck, the game even loaded one time when I was just on the pause screen going between menus. Black Mirror is available now on the PlayStation 4 for $39.99. It does have a Platinum trophy. It's also available on the Xbox One and PC. Overall, the story and atmosphere of Black Mirror is pretty decent. The problem is the game is ruined by a lot of other technical issues. If some of these problems are fixed, especially the load times, the game will be more playable and much more enjoyable. I don't know how it compares to the original Black Mirror, as unfortunately I've never played it. I really feel though that this game really could have just been a point-and-click adventure game, making navigation a lot easier, because moving the character around added nothing but make the game a lot more clunky. With all that said, I'm going to be giving Black Mirror a 4 out of 10. But anyway guys, I'm going to wrap up this review. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course I hope you enjoyed.